You are that person who breaks all equations with a look, who changes the energy of the stage, even with your silence. No one can figure out when you will make a move, which door you will open. Write 44 in the comments now. Don't just be a spectator, be a part of the story. With your support, we will become a giant family of 5,000 people. Subscribe now, turn on notifications, and join us, because your steps are set to an invisible compass. Today, you hide behind the clouds. Tomorrow, you rise like the sun. This unpredictability of yours disrupts the memorization of others. It leaves those who plan without a plan, and those who are sure, hesitant. This is where the real power lies. In your intriguing posture, in your unpredictable pace. Remember, your energy grows as you protect your mystery. Fate opens its doors wide open as you keep your roots secret. While they are struggling with question marks, you are already setting the stage for a new victory. You know, sometimes a soul is like a garden in winter. Roots deep beneath the frost. Everything looking silent on the surface, yet a secret preparation is happening out of sight. The world walks by, thinking the plot is barren. But beneath that stillness, God is busy at work, weaving the next season. For years, you might have let other people set your calendar, giving your best daylight to everyone else's emergencies, pouring out your strength into every cup but your own. You were the one folks called when their sky was falling, the safe harbor in their storm, the helper whose name never got written in bold but was always spoken in a whisper when the chips were down. They'd show up at your door needing a shoulder, a ride, a loan, a word of encouragement. And, oh, you gave it gladly, smiling with a grace that looked like effortless patience. But deep down, there was a story only you and God knew. Every time you set aside your own hopes to lift someone else up, it was like packing away a bright summer shirt for another winter, telling yourself, maybe next year. Your dreams got folded neatly and tucked into drawers nobody saw. You cheered for others at their finish lines, while your own race shoes gathered dust. And yet, that patient smile, that steady yes, wasn't just the mark of a gentle spirit. It was also the mask that kept the world from noticing the quiet thunder inside you. What looked like endless grace was really a kind of pressure rising, a gathering of rain behind the clouds, waiting for the right moment to pour. You learned to keep the peace, to swallow your own frustration, to nod along even as your spirit longed for something more. There's a hidden toll to being everybody's miracle worker. People assumed you were content being the background music to their lives, not realizing you were made to lead a symphony of your own. They'd marvel at your endurance, your reliability, your gentle advice. But no one asked about the cost. No one saw the tears you wiped away alone in the bathroom, the dreams you buried so someone else could have the spotlight, the exhaustion you carried like an invisible backpack. For a long time, you tried to convince yourself this was the highest calling, serving, giving, sacrificing, until there was nothing left but the shadow of yourself. And yes, service is holy. Love is powerful. But the world will take all you have to give if you don't learn to listen when your own spirit cries out for more. Like a well-drawn dry, you can only give water as long as there's something left at the bottom. Then, one day, the season shifted. Not on the calendar, but in your soul. Maybe it came with a heartbreak that couldn't be explained away. Maybe it was a moment of silence after all the phone calls had stopped, when you finally heard the still small voice within you whisper, "It's time." Or maybe you just woke up and realized you couldn't keep living with the best parts of yourself locked away, like family china reserved for guests who never come. That's when what was dormant inside you. The longings, the gifts, the vision started to stir. The winter garden didn't stay frozen. The roots broke through the ice. The patience that once looked like submission now became power rising, quiet but unstoppable. Suddenly, the mask slipped off and the world was startled to see what was growing there. A person transformed, no longer satisfied with the sidelines, no longer willing to carry everyone else while their own journey stalled. Every story hides a secret. Subscribe and become a seeker with us. You became aware that grace is not just for giving away, it's also for receiving. That it's possible to bless others without being broken by their demands. That God never meant for your song to be just background harmony. He gave you a voice for a reason. The patience that once kept you stuck became the patience to wait for your own moment, to listen to your own calling, to nurture your own vision, even when no one else understands it. Like a tree that's been pruned, you might have looked bare to outsiders, but inside, you were gathering strength for a greater spring. The kindness that remains is richer now, flowing from abundance, not scarcity. Your no became as holy as your yes, your boundaries as sacred as your blessings. And the storms you survived turned into living water, nourishing not just others, but finally you. So, if you're in that winter season, if you're feeling like the world has asked too much and noticed too little, remember, every quiet root, every folded dream, every tear sown, in secret is seen by the one who made you. You are not meant to be the background character in your own story. There's a harvest on the other side of this season. The patience you've practiced is about to bloom. The world may have written you into a supporting role, but heaven has cast you as the lead. Now, as the first green shoots break through, as your voice grows stronger and your purpose becomes clear, let the old world be surprised by the life that's rising in you. Let them marvel at the transformation, the resilience, the joy that cannot be contained. Because you, beloved, are not just here to endure, you're here to flourish. The rain that once threatened to drown you is about to make everything grow. And when people ask where you found this new strength, this new direction, this unshakable peace, you'll know. It came from listening to the quiet work God was doing in the depths, trusting the timing, and finally, after so many seasons of waiting, answering the call of your own beautiful blooming garden. Change doesn't always come like a thunderbolt in the night. Sometimes it's more like a river carving out a canyon, slow and persistent. Gently at first, then suddenly, the whole landscape is different. In life, the soul's awakening can resemble a stream, swelling with spring rains, washing away the old dirt and making space for new growth. Some call it fate, others call it God's timing. But everyone who's lived long enough knows there comes a day when the gentle drip becomes a flood. For years, you may have been the wellspring for everyone around you. It was as if you were the town's only water tower, always open, always pouring, always refilling everyone else's cups, while your own ran lower and lower. You gave encouragement to the tired, money to the struggling, advice to the lost, and forgiveness to those who forgot your worth. Maybe you did it out of habit, or maybe it was your heart for service. Maybe it's just the way you were raised. Be good, don't make a fuss, keep the peace. And so, every day, you shrank just a little, dimming your shine so no one would feel small standing next to you. But the soul is like a field. If you keep harvesting and never plant, if you keep giving and never rest, even the richest soil turns to dust. Beneath your polite smile and steady presence, something else was growing. A restlessness, a longing, a question that wouldn't go away. What about my dreams? What about the book unwritten? The journey untraveled? The talents I boxed up so nobody would feel threatened by what God put in me? The world will keep taking, keep drawing from your well, keep pulling from your field, unless you wake up and remember that you're not here just to be a caretaker, but a creator. Then it happens, not as a soft nudge, but as a holy disruption. Sometimes trust shatters with one conversation, or you see someone step into a blessing that secretly looks like your own calling, or it's just a quiet morning when your heart can't keep quiet anymore. The universe, or maybe the Holy Spirit himself, gives you a shake that you feel in your bones. And it's not subtle, not a polite invitation. It's a full system reset, a clearing of the cache, a call to rise up and claim what you've been holding back. You find yourself reaching for the off switch. Suddenly, you see all the places your energy was leaking away, where you kept showing up so others wouldn't have to, where you agreed to things that weren't in your spirit, where you played small so no one would call you proud. It's like realizing you've been living in someone else's house, wearing shoes 2 sizes too small, just so you wouldn't make noise on the staircase. But now, the shoes come off. You step into your own space, stand a little taller, let your real self take up room. No more siphoning off your best ideas just to keep the peace. No more hiding your light so someone else won't feel insecure. No more clipping your wings so others won't complain about the wind. You start to realize humility isn't about pretending to be less than you are. It's about telling the truth, even if it's glorious. And your truth is glorious, chosen one. You were crafted with a certain glow, a holy fire that was never meant to stay under a basket. Think you've heard it all? Subscribe and let the Bible surprise you. As this new energy pulses through you, the outlines others sketched for your life, the expectations, the roles, the labels, the duties, suddenly look like children's drawings. You aren't meant to fit into someone else's frame, and you never were. God drew your blueprint long before anyone else had an opinion. The old outlines fade like chalk in the rain, and you see for the first time the beautiful, boundless canvas that's really yours to fill. Of course, when this reset happens, not everyone claps. Some folks liked you best when you were quietly useful, dependable, predictable. They liked you as a background character, reliable, supportive, but never the center of the story. Now that you're refusing to pour from an empty cup, you might hear all sorts of things. You've changed. You're selfish now. Why are you making things difficult? But listen close. Those voices are just echoes of old patterns trying to pull you back into a smaller life. And here's the revelation. You don't owe anyone the version of you that leaves yourself behind. Real love doesn't ask you to disappear. True friendship doesn't demand that you erase your own needs. Authentic faith isn't afraid of shining, because every light God placed on this earth was meant to be seen. When you stop shrinking, you give others permission to expand too. When you stand in your fullness, you call others to step into theirs. This reset isn't a rejection of service or humility. It's a return to divine balance. You're not refusing to help. You're refusing to lose yourself in the process. You still give, but now from overflow, not depletion. You still care, but you don't rescue people at the cost of your own calling. You still shine, but you're no longer afraid of the shadows it might cast. If someone only loved the version of you that made life easy for them, let that version go. It was never the whole story. As you settle into this new season, life begins to open up. Doors that were invisible before now stand unlocked. The ideas you tucked away begin to sprout. The passions you buried start blooming in the open. You see, what you thought was an ending was really a beginning. The moment the seed bursts from its shell, not to die, but to become what it was always meant to be. In this new freedom, your courage multiplies. You speak with more conviction. You walk with more peace. You laugh more often, love more deeply, and create without apology. People who resonate with your true self show up. Sometimes old friends, sometimes brand new faces, always folks who aren't intimidated by your rising. You begin to attract opportunities, friendships, and blessings that match the new shape of your soul. Don't be surprised if the old world tries to call you back. Don't be startled if guilt or nostalgia or doubt tries to tug you into the comfort of who you used to be. But you're on a new frequency now, tuned to the voice of destiny, not duty. The same God who woke you up will guide your steps, provide your resources, and make sure your best days aren't behind you, but ahead, just waiting to be lived. And one day, you'll look back and realize you didn't lose anything by refusing to shrink. You didn't miss out by choosing your own outline. What you gained, self-respect, purpose, vitality, unshakable peace, can't be measured by what others think of you. The old pipelines may have dried up, but now living water flows from within, and there's more than enough for you and everyone you're called to bless. Let the river run, chosen one. The time for shrinking is over. The days of making yourself less so others feel more are gone. The outlines you step into now are drawn by a higher hand. What you build from here will not only bless your life, but will become a lighthouse for those still waiting for their own holy reset. This is your season to shine, not just for the world, but for your own soul's sake. Imagine a great tree in winter, quiet, bare, almost forgotten in the landscape, yet deep beneath the frozen soil, the roots are gathering strength. That's what happens inside the spirit when seasons of giving, striving, and being everything for everyone finally give way to a new kind of growth. It's the moment after the storm, when the world is still, and something ancient within you starts to wake up. At first, it might seem like only a faint thrum, but before long, it's the heartbeat of your whole being, strong and steady, rising up, where once there was only a murmur. All your life, you might have felt like background music in someone else's story. Soft, supportive, never demanding the spotlight. Always there, but rarely heard above the noise. Maybe you let others choose the playlist, decide the tempo, tell you where your melody fit best. But deep down, that quiet song inside you was growing stronger, waiting for its own solo, tired of being just another part of the harmony. And then, in a moment that seems both sudden and inevitable, it breaks through the silence. This is not the kind of change that comes with fireworks or headlines. No one needs to see you flip a table or shout from the rooftop. It's subtler, more like a tide turning beneath the moon. One day you wake up and realize you're not apologizing for your presence anymore. You're not making room for every visitor who knocks at the door of your life. It's as if you've been handed a set of keys and finally figured out which doors deserve to be locked and which rooms are open only by invitation. What rises now is not anger or rebellion. It's discernment, sacred and quiet. You find yourself pausing before you say yes, listening for that inner nudge, asking, "Does this truly belong to me?" Instead of letting every opinion in, you begin to notice which voices add value and which ones drain your spirit. The noise of old habits, pleasing, rescuing, overextending, fades to the background, replaced by something solid and clear. Your no becomes as holy as your yes. This transformation isn't dramatic in the way the world expects. It happens in small, everyday choices. A phone call you don't return, a favor you let slide, a conversation you choose not to join. Old scripts no longer hold you captive. You no longer feel obligated to carry burdens that were never yours to bear. For the first time in a long time, you are the author of your own boundaries. People notice, even if you don't announce it. They sense the shift before you say a word. Your presence feels different, calmer, weightier, untouchable in the best way. Friends who once relied on your endless patience might look puzzled when you don't jump at every request. Colleagues who counted on your silence to push their agendas find the ground has shifted beneath them. Family who always assumed you'd come running are surprised to hear you say, "Let me think about it," or "Not this time." It's like watching the tide pull back from the shore. Gentle, inevitable, but leaving everything changed. You're no longer living on autopilot, responding to every beep, every text, every knock. Your life becomes more intentional, your choices more deliberate. You realize you have the power to choose what grows in your garden. No more weeds crowding out the flowers. No more stray seeds blown in by the winds of other people's expectations. In this new season, you become your own gatekeeper. Your intuition sharpens. You can feel, almost physically, which invitations are genuine and which are just another attempt to draw from your well without refilling it. You can hear the difference between a call for help and a call for attention. You recognize which responsibilities are yours by divine appointment and which were only ever borrowed out of habit or guilt. As you step away from old routines, speculation fills the air. Some assume a crisis, others invent wild tales to explain your new boundaries. While the rumors multiply, something rare is unfolding inside. You're not just repairing what's broken. You're sculpting something original from raw stone. Insight sharpens, creativity bursts like a river thawing in spring, and you see beneath the surface of situations as if you've been granted a new sense. People who once took advantage of your generosity are exposed by the spotlight of your changed perspective. Those few who supported you in your growing pains prove their unwavering place in your circle. The ones who vanished when you stopped doing their heavy lifting did you the greatest favor. They made space for true connections to emerge, leaving the door open for new energy to enter. Emergence is not just return, it's a total reconfiguration. When you come back into view, your presence carries a weight that didn't exist before. Some who tried to minimize your worth can no longer meet your gaze. Those who relied on your quiet compliance scramble to find their footing. It's clear that the person who once blended in now stands apart, and every interaction reveals a shift in the balance. The uncanny thing is how your perception has changed. Without effort or explanation, you become a living riddle, the one who reads intentions in silence and spots deception at a glance. Answers seem to come from nowhere. You spot connections others overlook. Mysteries unravel in your hands, and solutions arrive with a speed that feels supernatural to onlookers. Gifts you used to tuck away now step into the light. Whether through music, design, conversation, or innovation, you let the world glimpse the depths that were always there. Those who doubted you are caught off guard. Your presence in any space draws attention, not from flashy performance, but because people can sense authenticity when it finally finds its voice. Unexpected messages come in from strangers who say your story cracked open their own. Even former acquaintances find ways to watch your progress from a distance, not daring to admit they never expected such a transformation. And while the world watches, a quieter group keeps tabs for a different reason. Some who once held secrets, unspoken histories, truths tucked into the family attic, become uneasy as your awareness sharpens. They sense that what they hid is drawing closer to the surface. Some withdraw, trying to avoid discovery, while others entangle themselves in new stories. But there's a growing realization that truth, once it has momentum, can't be barricaded forever. The months or years of isolation, which outsiders mistook for defeat or confusion, become your foundry. Stories swirl of breakdowns and crises, but only you know that time alone was the crucible where you learned what real strength feels like. You weren't vanishing, you were distilling. Every day spent in solitude forged new resilience, giving your soul the room it needed to outgrow every box you'd ever tried to squeeze into. Legends, miracles, prophecies, subscribe to see what history forgot. Rejoining the world, you bring with you a new tempo, a rhythm of engagement, followed by focused solitude. You dive deep when called, then vanish to restore and build in silence. This unpredictability disorients some and draws others in closer. It acts as a sieve. Those who seek genuine connection are drawn in by your grounded energy, while the ones hoping for endless access to your light quickly lose their way. Word travels about your knack for unraveling complicated knots. People start showing up with problems they couldn't solve. Tangled relationships, opaque work politics, puzzles that resisted every other attempt at resolution. You decode what others miss, reading between words and sensing the tension beneath polite conversation. What began as a necessity has become your calling card. By simply living your truth, you become a catalyst for change. Friends, colleagues, and even strangers find themselves inspired to step out of their comfort zones, cut ties with toxic patterns, and rediscover passions they'd buried. Your journey creates ripples you can't track. People take courage from your transformation, quietly modeling their own next steps after your example. There are those, though, whose memories of past manipulation begin to haunt them. They recognize that the silence you wield is not ignorance, but careful observation. Anxiety sets in as they replay every moment, unsure how much you know. They reach out with small gestures, hoping for reassurance, but the energy has shifted and can't be turned back. Mastering the art of withholding is a power few ever learn. You reveal only what matters when it matters. Each word spoken is intentional, every gesture deliberate. Your restraint is not coldness, but a kind of discipline that burns hotter than any argument. People realize that when you choose to speak, it's not for attention, but for impact. With each stage, new voices encourage you to recognize your own value. No more hiding or deferring. No more rationing care for yourself. They urge you to see your journey as worthy of celebration, to invest in your own growth and well-being. The message is clear. Honoring yourself is the only way forward if you wish to break new ground. Now, the narrative others have of you is a faint outline compared to the reality you've built. Those who once thought you'd faded away have no idea how thoroughly you've transformed. Your story isn't just about bouncing back. It's proof that real reinvention is possible, that anyone willing to do the work can create an entirely new blueprint for their life. And this is only the beginning. New opportunities pulse on the horizon. Doors that once seemed locked now open of their own accord. The anticipation in the air is electric. What you've done has changed the rules for everyone watching. What started as your personal evolution has become a beacon, showing others that overlooked doesn't mean defeated, and underestimated doesn't mean unworthy. In the grand design, your legacy isn't just survival, it's the creation of a new possibility for anyone still searching for their place. Through persistence, courage, and the slow mastery of your gifts, you've shaped not only your own destiny, but the hopes of countless others. There are still stories left to be written, and the world waits, watching, listening, learning what real transformation looks like in living color.